Hello students, this video of third chapter of class 10th NCERT book, that is Metals and Non-Metals, is brought to you by Ms. Bhanupriya. Before starting today's video, I would like to tell you about the topics which we have discussed yesterday. So we have discussed about the various examples of metals and non-metals. We have discussed about the properties of metal and the non-metals, in which we have discussed about the physical properties of them. So we now know that physical properties of metals and non-metals have various differences in it. Okay, now similarly we have to see that is there the chemical properties are going to change when we study about metals and non-metals. So today's lecture will be based upon the chemical properties of metals and non-metals. So we'll start with the discussion with the chemical properties of metals. Now if we think about the examples of metal, we simply say that few examples of metals are gold, silver, okay, copper, ठीक है. So many examples are there. Similarly, now we have to see that whether the chemical properties are having some changes with the metals or with the non-metals or not. So we are going to study about the chemical properties which is based upon the reactions. Why we are talking about the chemical properties is related with the reactions? Because the chemicals are going to react, then only there could be any change in their properties, there could be any change in their in the formation of the product. So this is based upon the chemical change, and chemical change is mainly based upon the reactions with various types of chemicals. Now we will see the first chemical property of metal, which is the reaction with oxygen. So how is this metal going to react with oxygen? Whenever metals are reacting with oxygen, it forms metal oxides. Please remember that metals always react with oxygen to form metal oxide. For example, copper is a metal. Now if we are going to heat this copper with oxygen, okay, means we are going to heat means we are combining this copper with oxygen. Okay, heating is possible only when we are going to provide oxygen in the surrounding. Okay, when this metal is going to be heated in the oxygen, it means it is combining, it is reacting with oxygen. It means copper is going to react with oxygen to form copper oxide. This is 2CuO. Okay, so the reaction goes like this. 2Cu plus O2 will give you 2CuO. Next is that when aluminium is heated, it combines with oxygen. Whenever oxidation is taking place, whenever the heat is going to be heated, when the substance is going to be heated, any metal is going to be heated, it is going to combine with oxygen, means it is going to react with oxygen. It is going to combine with oxygen. Okay, please remember the word combine and reaction here, both are the same things. It is going to form aluminium oxide. The reaction is 4Al plus 3O2 will give you 2Al2O3. So this aluminium oxide is the formation is result, because it is a result of the formation of aluminium oxide, that is a metal. Aluminium here is a metal, and oxide means here oxygen is present. So this metal is going to form metal oxides on reaction with oxygen. Fine. Some of the metal oxides are basic oxides because they react with water to form base. Why these metals are forming basic oxides? Now how are you going to test this basic oxide? Because we can test this basic oxide with the help of litmus test. What is this litmus test? You all know very well that we'll take one strip of paper, this litmus paper, and then we will add some basic oxide over it to after dissolving it into the water. Then we can see that it is reacting with basic in the basic manner, means it is going to turn red litmus to blue. Okay, now the example of basic oxide, one such reaction is that when magnesium ribbon is burnt. Okay, when magnesium ribbon is burnt in oxygen, it is a metal. Again, it is burnt with oxygen, means it is combining with oxygen. It forms the oxide. MgO is going to form, means magnesium oxide is going to be formed. Now when you are adding this magnesium oxide is reacted with water, means you have got ashes. In the form of ash, this magnesium oxide will be formed. Now if this magnesium oxide is going to be dissolved with water, it is going to react with water, it is going to form MgOH twice. Okay, this is going to form magnesium hydroxide. When this magnesium hydroxide is tested with the litmus paper, it is going to turn red litmus blue. Means it is going to show that the oxide which was formed here, which is going to react with water to form basic oxide, and it is going to be changing the red litmus into blue color. It means that metal, initially we have started from a metal, so the metal oxides which are formed as a result is going to be dissolved in water. When they are going to react with water, they form bases. That is a very definite example, as we have seen here when magnesium ribbon is burnt. Okay, so here are some examples of such oxides are written. We will see this. This is sodium. When it is burnt with oxygen, it forms Na2O. Okay, sodium oxide is formed. Then when Na2 after this sodium oxide which is formed, it is a metal oxide. This metal oxide is reacting with water to form NaOH. NaOH is a base. So whenever you are reacting this NaOH with litmus paper, it is going to give you aqueous solution of this NaOH is going to turn red litmus blue. Similarly, when you are reacting this potassium with oxygen, it is going to form K2O. Okay, and when this K2O is going to react with water, it is going to form 2KOH. It is again a basic oxide, and it is going to show you the reaction on the litmus paper. It is going to change red litmus into blue color. So this shows that all the elements, all the metals, whenever they are reacting with oxygen, they form metal oxide, and these metal oxides are basic in its nature because they form bases. Now there is one exception. We are going to study here about one exception, that is some metal oxides show acidic as well as basic properties both. Okay, acidic properties and basic properties both are seen in this in some metal oxide. Now these types of special metal oxide, these are known as they are called as amphoteric oxides. Okay, so what is this amphoteric oxides? Amphoteric oxides are those oxides which sometimes behaves as acidic and sometimes it behaves as basic. So it shows both the properties, acidic and basic properties. Okay, so here they are known as amphoteric oxides. Example, aluminium oxide, which is formed here, is an amphoteric oxide. Okay, now if you are going to dissolve this with some acid, means if you feel that this is a base, then if you have to show that it behaves as a base, so if this is going to be dissolved, means Al2O3 is going to dissolve with acid plus base is going to form salt and water. So this salt which is formed here is 2AlCl3. okay, aluminium chloride is formed. It is going to release this water. So this behaves like a basic metal. Okay, so this behaves like basic oxide. Now if you have to prove that it behaves like acidic oxide, you will write down, you will add some base in it. If you feel that it is acidic, you will add some base to it. Now after reacting with base, it is going to form salt and water. Again, the salt which is formed is what? It is NaAlO2. This is sodium aluminate. The salt which is formed is sodium aluminate, and the water will be released. So this is how you can say that Al2O3 means aluminium oxide is going to show amphoteric nature, where amphoteric means these metal oxides are going to show acidic as well as basic behavior. Fine. So this was about the first chemical properties of metal reacting with oxygen. Now the reactivity of different metals is different with the oxygen. It reacts differently, means the reaction of metals with oxygen is very different. If we are going to see the reactivity series, we will find that metals like potassium and sodium, these are metals, potassium and sodium, they react vigorously. Vigorously means they are reacting very quickly, very fast with oxygen, and it catches fire when it is kept in open. Now if you are having a piece of potassium or sodium in your room, then what happens? It catches fire quickly as soon as it is brought to the atmosphere. So it is going to react vigorously with oxygen. That is why we cannot store this potassium and sodium in a container, like in a jar. It has to be stored under kerosene oil. Why kerosene oil? Because it prevents burning. Why it is preventing burning? See, you know that oils are lighter than water. We cannot use water because water will be absorbed inside the metal, and these are soft metals. They could be cut with the help of knife only. So these are so soft. So if water is to be added, then it is not going to be burnt, because water is going to extinguish that fire. So we are storing this potassium and sodium inside the kerosene oil. So we are having jar, we will put kerosene oil in it, and we are going to store in it because it is going to react vigorously as soon as it comes out in the atmosphere. Fine. Now next is that if we see next metal, that is the magnesium. It is when it is heated in the form of magnesium ribbon, when we are going to heat, it is going to burn with a very bright flame. Okay, so remember, so it has a very different types of reactivities with the oxygen. So first we have seen that some metals which reacts vigorously, that is potassium and sodium, they catch fire. Next is if we heat magnesium, it is going to burn with a bright flame. Next is that if iron is heated, then it glows brightly. It is not catching fire, it is only glowing brightly. You can see the red color of the iron is because of when it is kept at high temperature. So it becomes red hot. It glows brightly. I have not written here, it burns brightly. Fine. So here what happens next is the copper. When it is heated, it does not burn, only it forms a black coating of copper oxide. So this copper is not going to burn, it is going to form only a black coating. Okay, so this is of copper oxide. Next, silver and gold do not react with oxygen, so they do even at high temperature. So whenever this silver and gold is there, it is also a metal which is not reacting with oxygen directly at higher temperature. Next we will see that some elements, some these metals like magnesium, aluminum, zinc, lead, they also react with oxygen. Okay, if you see that magnesium ribbon, if you are it is present in the laboratories where when it is kept in the open, then what happens, it is going to react with the atmospheric oxygen, and it is going to form the oxide layer over it. Magnesium ribbon is there, it is going to form the layer of oxide over it. So this layer of oxide is why it is formed, because this is a metal, this is magnesium which is a metal, it is going to react with oxygen, it forms a layer of oxide, that is magnesium oxide. Okay, so this prevents the further oxidation of the metal when you have to show it when it has to go under a reaction. So what happens, you have to clean this magnesium oxide layer before using it, this magnesium ribbon for burning. Okay, that magnesium oxide will be formed. So before burning you have to clean this. Why we have to clean? Because already a white colored magnesium oxide layer is already present on this magnesium ribbon, which prevents the further oxidation. Means it is not going to allow the oxygen to enter in this magnesium for the reaction. So what will be done, there will be no reaction. So what we have to do, we have to remove this magnesium oxide by rubbing with its sandpaper. We are going to rub this magnesium oxide with the help of sandpaper. Okay, so this sandpaper is going to remove the layer of this oxide, which is going to allow this magnesium ribbon to react with oxygen. Okay, so it forms a self-protecting layer. Means therefore these metals are also known as self-protecting metals. Which one? Magnesium, aluminum and zinc, lead. So these are why they are called self-protecting, because they are forming the magnesium oxide, a layer of oxide over it. It could be magnesium oxide, it could be aluminum oxide, it could be zinc oxide, or it could be a lead oxide. Okay, so it is not going to allow the oxygen to enter in the reaction. Okay, so this is all about the reactivity of metals with oxygen. So it is very much different in each and every case. Okay, now we go on to the next slide. We will see the second chemical property of metal, that is reaction with water. So what is the reaction with water? The metals are going to react with water to form two things. Either metal oxides will be formed, or they are going to form metal hydroxides. Okay, and they all will form hydrogen. Means oxides of metal, means metal oxide or metal hydroxide will be formed. Fine. So how is this metal oxide and hydroxide is formed? When we are going to react with water and metal. Okay, so this metal and water is going to react with each other to form metal oxides and metal hydroxides. Fine. So how is this formed? Let us see in the examples which is given below. The first metal which is used here is sodium, and you know that sodium reacts vigorously with water, so it is going to react with water and it is going to dissolve in water and form NaOH. Sodium plus water is going to form NaOH, means sodium hydroxide. Fine. When potassium is added with water, it forms 2KOH. Okay, means it is going to form potassium hydroxide. If you are going to add calcium with water, it is going to form calcium hydroxide. Next, if you are going to add aluminium with water, it is going to form Al2O3. Just now we have discussed it is going to combine with oxygen and forms aluminium oxide. Till now hydroxides were formed. Here we are going to see that the metal oxides are formed, means aluminium oxide. In aluminium oxide, aluminium is metal. This Al2O3, this is a metal, and this is oxygen, means it is going to form metal oxides. Next, in Fe2O3, this one, iron plus water, means rust will be formed. This is Fe2O3 plus 4H2. Okay, hydrogen gas is released. Now how are you going to test that in each reaction hydrogen gas is released? We are going to test this hydrogen with the help of pop sound test, where a burning splinter, when it is brought near the jar full of hydrogen, it is going to give you pop sound. Please remember that whenever the metals are going to react with water, they form metal oxides. Either they are going to form metal oxides or metal hydroxide plus hydrogen. Okay. Next, now similar to the last activity which we have seen, that the reactivity of metals with water is very different from each other. Why it is very different from each other? Because sodium and potassium, they are highly reactive, which is going to react vigorously with cold water to form sodium hydroxide and oxygen, and it catches fire. Next is calcium reacts very violently, means it is also very reactive with water. It is going to form calcium hydroxide and water, but it does not catch fire. Fine. Next is that magnesium is going to react with hot water only. It is going to form magnesium hydroxide and hydrogen. Fine. Next is the magnesium, the elements like this, metals like aluminium, iron, zinc, they only react with steam to form metal oxides and hydrogen. Please remember this. Okay. Next is the last one, which is showing you that metals are like lead, copper, silver and gold. They don't react with water at all. That is why the silver gold jewelries are used in the daily purpose, because it is not going to react with water. It is not going to be it is not going to lose its shine. Okay, so this is the reason because of which the elements have different, these metals have different properties, because it is reacting differently with the water. Okay, now we go into the next topic, that is reaction of acids with reaction of metals with acid. Now metals are going to react with dilute acids to form salt and hydrogen. Okay, metals react with acids to form salt and hydrogen. This Mg is a metal, magnesium is a metal, which is going to react with hydrochloric acid to form MgCl2 and H2, means magnesium chloride will be formed. It is a salt of chloride when HCl is added. Okay, it is going to react only with the dilute acids. Next is Al, means aluminium is going to react with HCl to form AlCl3 plus hydrogen. Then zinc is going to form with HCl. It is going to form zinc chloride and hydrogen. Similarly, iron is going to react with HCl and forming FeCl2 plus H2O. Okay, so this is how the reaction goes on. The reactivity varies from metal to metal. It means that it is changing from metals to metal. It is different for each and every metal. For the above metal, the decreasing order of reactivity means it is magnesium, then aluminium, then zinc, then iron. Okay, because it is based upon the reactivity series. Now this reactivity, copper, silver, gold do not react with dilute hydrochloric acid. Please remember, it is not going to react. Okay, next is that hydrogen gas is not evolved with the metal when it is reacting with nitric acid, because this is a strong oxidizing agent and it oxidizes hydrogen to form water and reduce itself to form oxides of nitrogen. It means that, see here you can see that hydrogen is formed, but whenever this reaction is going on, this copper is going to react with hydrochloric acid, means HNO3. Then what will happen? It should release hydrogen, but this is not releasing hydrogen. Why it is not releasing hydrogen? Because this HNO3 itself, this nitric acid, is itself a very strong oxidizing agent. Means it is going to act, it is going to give oxygen to this this hydrogen. Means it is going to form water, H2O. It is going to add up oxygen to this hydrogen. It is not able to, this reaction is not able to sustain hydrogen in the form of only hydrogen gas. So what happens? It quickly attaches hydrogen with oxygen. Means this hydrogen is going to quickly attach with oxygen just because of the presence of this nitric acid, because nitric acid is a very strong oxidizing agent. Okay, please remember this, that this nitric acid is a very strong oxidizing agent. Okay, that is why we cannot see the only hydrogen which is present. So the reaction of the same is given here below. Okay, so the reaction is 3Cu plus 8HNO3 is going to give you CuNO3 twice plus water. Why water? I told you that this HNO3 is a very strong oxidizing agent which does not allow the hydrogen to remain in the form of hydrogen gas. It quickly reacts with hydrogen to form water. Okay, so it is going to be reduced, it forms water, and 2NO2 will be formed. Next, the reaction of metals with metal salt solution. How is the metals going to react with metal salt solution? It is more reactive. A more reactive metal going to displace a less reactive metal to form salt and water. This is the displacement reaction which is going on. So magnesium displaces. So here what happens is magnesium displaces copper to form copper sulfate solution. Okay, this magnesium is going to displace this copper. As we know that in the reactivity series, the place of magnesium is much more higher than that of the copper. That is why it is going to remove copper, and in place of copper magnesium will come. So with SO4 magnesium is attached, MgSO4 plus copper is formed. Okay, copper metal is going to be displace, it is going to be present. Now how is this reaction taking place? I'll just show you here in these diagrams. First we'll discuss more examples. Zinc is going to displace copper from copper sulfate solution, where zinc is going to form, it is going to react with CuSO4, it is going to form zinc sulfate, ZnSO4. Again zinc is just above, much more above than that of the copper. It is going to displace copper, copper will be removed, and in place of copper zinc will come and sit. So here the salt which is formed will be zinc sulfate. Similarly, next reaction which is given here is iron displaces copper to form copper sulfate solution, where iron is going to react, Fe is going to react with CuSO4, which is going to form FeSO4, ferric salt or ferric sulfate is going to be formed, and again copper will be released as metal. So how is this reaction taking place? This blue colored copper sulfate solution is there. You will add magnesium powder to it, you will add magnesium to it. Okay, magnesium is added. Then after the reaction you will see that a colorless magnesium sulfate is formed, and we will see that pieces of copper is settled down at the base. Okay, so this reaction, magnesium plus copper sulfate, will form copper at the base in the form of pieces, and the colorless magnesium sulfate will be formed. Okay. Next is the next reaction. This next picture is showing you the next reaction of iron with copper sulfate. Similarly, if you are adding iron to this blue colored copper sulfate solution, you add and remain let this iron nail remain there in the solution for 15 to 20 minutes. After 15 to 20 minutes, you are going to see that this test tube is going to form a green colored solution, which is the ferrous sulfate, and copper will be deposited on this iron nail. So this is how the reaction is going to take place in the various forms, and various forms of salts are going to be formed because of the reaction of metals with metal salts. Okay. Next is the reactivity series, according to which these reactions were taking place. See, hydrogen is present here, you see that zinc is here, magnesium is above zinc, so magnesium is going to displace this zinc. So because most reactive metal is this potassium and sodium, least reactive metals are the gold and silver, and hydrogen is placed in the middle. Okay, so please remember the metals which are placed above hydrogen is going to show you higher reactivity, whereas the metals which are placed below the hydrogen, they are going to show less reactivity. Okay, now next is this, how is this non-metal going to react? So this non-metal, so these non-metals, how they are going to react is that when metal loses electrons, How is this metal and non-metal is going to react? So this is the next topic. Now metal has a capacity to lose electrons. Since if metal is going to lose electrons, it becomes positively charged. Okay, so it becomes positively charged. Next, what happens, why it is going to become positively charged? Suppose that you understand like this: if it is an atom, and in the center of an atom you have positive charge, okay, and negative charges are revolving, and you know that reaction is only taking place when these electrons are donated. Fine, these electrons are given off. So when this electron is given off, then what you are going to left with, if it has two electrons, if two positive charge is there, and this element has two electrons in its shell, these two electrons are donated, then what will happen? Then it is going to be left only with the positive charge, okay, or only one electron is if one electron is present in this outermost shell, it is going to donate only this one electron. It is left with only one positive charge in the center. So which charge is more, negative or positive? One electron is there and one proton is there. So if this one electron is left out now, so what will be, we are left with only the positive charge is left. So it means this atom becomes positively charged because the negative charge is already donated. Similarly, if here in this example which is given here, this sodium is present, which has atomic number 11. Now if you are seeing this electronic number is 11, if you are going to show the electronic configuration, then how does it becomes? It becomes 2, 8 and 1, means 8 plus 2 10 plus 1 11, means 11. This atomic number is going to be electronically configured in this form. K, L and M shells will have 2, 8 and 1 electron respectively. Now what happens, this one electron, you know that in the outermost shell either 2 or 8 electrons should be present. So there is 1, means what will happen to this one electron? This one electron will be released so that it becomes stable. For attaining stability, this sodium metal is going to give one electron for the reaction, so it has valency 1. Therefore the sodium now loses one electron to form sodium ions. This is how sodium ion is formed, and if we are going to have ions in the solution, they are definitely going to be reactive, and these ions are very reactive in nature. That is why they will give rise to reactions. That is why we see that the sodium and potassium, both of them are very reactive. Okay, it is very reactive. Sodium is going to lose one electron to form sodium ion, whereas magnesium is going to lose these two electrons to form an electronic configuration, to form a stable electronic configuration. That is why it is going to form this reactions will go on. Okay, so this is how metal is going to react. Now what about non-metals? Non-metals have the capacity to gain electrons. That is why they are non-metals. Okay, so they will gain electrons and become negatively charged. Why they are going to become negatively charged? See again, if this is an atom and it has one positive charge is present here and one negative charge is present here. Okay, now if one more electron comes, then what will happen? It has two electrons now and only one positive charge, and it becomes, then it means which charge is more? This minus charge is more. Okay, so what happens? So it becomes electronegative element. Please remember the word electronegative and electropositive, and why they are becoming electronegative and electropositive. So all non-metals are known as electronegative elements because they have excess of negative ions in it, because they gain negative ions. As here, see, this atomic number of chlorine is 17, and electronic configuration of this becomes, means 17 is there. What will be the electronic configuration? 2 in the first shell, then 8, then 7. 8 plus 2 10 plus 7 17. So it has 17 as atomic number, which will be configured in this form. 2, 8 and 7, means 7 is again an unstable part of the valence shell, so it needs one more electron to be gained. Now if it gains one electron from somewhere, some another atom, it is going to have a stable electronic configuration. So to form stable electronic configuration, this chlorine gains one electron. Here this reaction is showing you chlorine is going to gain one electron to form chlorine atom. Okay, to chlorine ion is going to be formed. Again it is one electron is going to be gained on. So what will be the valency of this chlorine? The valency of chlorine will be 1. Okay, so this is how the reactions are taking place. This is how the reaction is going on here. Okay, these reactions will be formed. Next is the chemical properties of non-metals. Okay, so I think this is all about today's topic. We'll discuss about the chemical properties of non-metals tomorrow in the next class. Now today we have discussed about the reactivity series of the metals, where we have seen the chemical properties of metal, in which metals have different chemical properties with oxygen. They show different reactions with oxygen, they show reaction with water, they show reaction with their acidic salts, they show they show the reaction with their salts. Okay, so and they react with acids also. So similarly they have different activities with water, with oxygen, with acids. So why it is having different properties with acid, water and bases and the salts also? Because of the presence of the acid, these metals at its position. So this position is going to decide whether the element will be more reactive or it will be less reactive. This hydrogen, the place of hydrogen, is going to decide the reactivity of any metal. Similarly, why the metals are reacting? It is reacting because of the donation of electrons. Metals are reacting because they are donating electrons, and non-metals are reacting because they are gaining electrons, but the gaining is not very much done. So these metals, these non-metals remains unreactive with most of the in most of the cases. Okay, so we will study about the chemical properties of non-metals in the next class. So children, that's all for today. I'll meet you all in the next video with the next topic to be discussed.